Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. We're going to talk about tabletop games. We're going to talk about Critical Role, their new system, Daggerheart, right? And we're going to talk about a controversy. Apparently, they have their own version of the OGL, right? A gaming license that lets you create your own content. And people are looking at it now. And they're saying that this really is just Wizards of the Coast OGL 1.1 all over again. So Critical Role broke ties with D&D, basically. They went out and they created their own, or at least slapped their name on another system. And now they're doing the same thing that drove so many people away from Dungeons & Dragons in the first place. Allegedly, apparently. So we're going to take a look at this document. And I got to give a huge hat tip to GPA, who sent this my way, and absolutely positively Dungeons and Discourse, who covered it first. I think they looked into it, and actually read through the document, and they're like, "Oh, hey, yeah, huge red flags here." So we're going to take a look at it. But yeah, definitely check out their channel. Actually, I believe they're one of the best D&D channels left out there. I mean, they're kind of like aren't as many as there used to be, but definitely check out their original video. We're going to take a look at. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. This video brought to you in part by Bad Orcs. Orcs are a-holes. Badorcs.com. Badorcs.com. We're selling some orc pins, another pin set. I like making pins. It's a lot of fun. Check it out, badorcs.com. There we go. So yeah, again, this the original video came from Dungeons and Discourse. We're gonna take a look at this document from Darrington Press. Is that the name of their company? Darrington Press Community Gaming License. So what these gaming licenses do is they basically give you the right to, I believe, create your own offshoots or supplements or whatever source books that use their rules, but you know, it's your own stuff, right? And a lot of times you're allowed to sell that stuff as long as you're not copying certain content that they don't want you to, that they will not let you. You know, you can't just like copy their rules and throw it into, you know, your own book and say, here's a complete game in a box, you know, with all their rules or whatever. That's not going to happen. You have to buy their rule books. But you can sell supplements or adventures, modules, you know, that sort of thing. And that is a big part of why D&D has lasted as long as it has, is that they had this open game license, which allowed for creators to and game designers to create all kinds of supplements, third-party supplements for Dungeons and Dragons for years, decades. And then they decided they wanted to monetize everything, right? And that you had to basically share your profits with them, and it was a huge mess. And now it looks like Critical Role, or at least Darrington Press. See, again, here's the thing. You got to be very careful here. I don't know how involved like Critical Role or Matt Mercer is himself in this. It could be like so many influencers do. They reach a certain point and then they just kind of like license their name to another company to kind of run with it. You see also Mr. Beast. Right now, he's more involved, I think, in his chocolate company or whatever. But like the hamburger thing he did, right? He really didn't have anything to do with that. He just kind of licensed his name to it, and then they kind of ran with it, and they ran it into the ground. I don't know the extent of involvement that these guys have had in it, but this does sound very much like Wizards. So according to the video, again, the original video, Dungeons and Discourse, go out and watch them. I don't want to steal their thunder here, but we're going to go down to Section 5. And I'm going to read this because this does sound a bit concerning and a bit nebulous. Section 5 says, release of infringement claims. Okay, so DRP, that would be the publisher, does not intend to copy or infringe upon any adaptive content created by you. However, because of the possibility that DRP may independently develop or publish materials that are similar to adaptive content created by third parties in exchange for allowing you to exercise the license right within this document, you hereby waive and release all claims, demands, or causes of action that you may now have or may in the future have against DRP for infringement, misappropriation, or any violation of rights in or to any adaptive content except to the extent that DRP has copied such adaptive content in its entirety and without modification. So translation, if we come up with something similar to something you've done in your own supplements or whatever, and we just lift it, whole cloth, we just lift the whole thing with no modifications, you can sue us. But if we change a name or tweak a couple of things here and there, enough to make it, 25% different or whatever, you waive the right to sue us. And this is kind of concerning because we have seen this with big companies, especially Disney. And I'll tell you about this. This actually ties into this very nicely. Experience we had where you basically waive your rights to sue them, and they can pretty much walk away with whatever they want to walk away with. We actually had optioned, it's been about 10 years now, 12 years now, had optioned 2 different animated series through Disney. And we were fronted some money for that. They give you money when they option your thing. And just because you get a series option doesn't mean it's actually going to happen, right? Well, we got our series option. We got the money. In the fine print, in the contract, when you agree to it and you take the money, it basically says if we come up with something similar, you can't sue us. If it's different enough, you can't sue us. And I'm not going to go into detail, but about 2 years after the paperwork was signed, we pitched an animated series. They did a live action series. It was very similar in story beats and characters to what we did, but they rearranged some things. We had no legal recourse because we took the money, we cashed the check, and that was the agreement. And, so, I mean, you got to realize that when you're doing this sorts of thing. Now, these sorts of things, the difference is Disney actually fronted us money. In this case, apparently, if you're publishing your own stuff and we just happen to do something similar, you can't sue us. Now, I do understand there are going to be people out there, they're going to look for, any reason to sue. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, Critical Role's got money and I made cat people and they made cat people and we're going to sue them because they made cat people. So it's gotta be a lot more similar than that. I mean, that's my understanding of it. Okay. So 5.1, you agree that DRP has the right to develop, acquire, license, sell, exploit, and share materials, products, and content that are substantially similar to or otherwise compete with your adaptive content, provided, however, that DRP agrees it will not identically copy your adaptive content. Okay, I can see where this would concern people because they're like, hey, how do we know that we're not just like prototyping new supplements for your system and that you're just going to come in and take everything that we came up with and make it 25% different? And the truth is you don't have that guarantee. You, on behalf of yourself and any affiliate successors and assigns, agree to fully and forever release and discharge DRP and its owners, officers, directors, employees, assigns, agents, affiliates, and representatives from any and all known and unknown claims, including all future claims that you may or may not be aware of at the time you create your adaptive content that DRP has infringed on or is infringing any rights you may hold in any adaptive content except where DRP has identically copied your adaptive content. For the avoidance of doubt, your release in this paragraph includes claims that may arise in the future due to later actions of a party or parties. This is okay. I mean, I understand what they're going for. They're trying to avoid people suing them for any damn thing, even if they do something similar that maybe wasn't intentionally copying somebody else, because you let people run with this sort of thing, they're going to create all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And they might come up with something similar to yours, and then they might be like, oh, you stole from me. And in the case of like a company like Disney, a lot of times it's like, well, we never saw your stuff because you didn't pitch it through an agent. I mean, what are you going to do? You covenant and agree that you will not bring or assert any action, claim, or cause of action in any jurisdiction or form against DRP, asserting a claim released by this license. DRP may plead this license as a complete defense and bar to any actions, claims, and demands which have been released by you under this license. And in the event that you bring such a barred action, claim, or demand, you agree to defend and indemnify and hold DRP harmless from and against any and all costs and expenses arising therefrom, including reasonable attorney's fees and expenses. You specifically understand, acknowledge, and agree that this is a full and final release which applies to any and all the claims released herein, whether known or unknown, whether past, present, or future. You expressly waive any right or benefit of the provisions of Section 1542 of the California Civil Code and any comparable law or statute elsewhere in the world. So you basically waive all rights to sue them if they come up with something similar. I mean, long story short, that's what they're saying. If you agree to create adaptive content, your own stuff, using their rules, their resource document, you are waiving your right to sue them for anything. So be aware of this, right? Just if you're gonna be like, hey, I've got a great idea. I'm going to make some Daggerheart source books, and that's going to be my livelihood. And then like a year later, it's like, oh my God, they made books almost exactly like mine, but 25% different. Guess what? You can't sue them. Tough shit. You lose. Good day, sir. Just so you know, this is what you're signing. Wow. Okay. So then I guess in section, is it 11? Again, according to Dungeons and Discourse. So I want to give them credit for this. This is concerning. DRP may modify or revise the license at any time and at sole discretion by posting the amended license on the website. So you have to keep track of it. You might be agreeing to something that you're not aware of. It's your job to keep track of this. And announcing the change on at least one of their social media channels, a modification or revision will become effective after such postings. And it's just like, Apple and everything else too, right? You are responsible for checking the license regularly for changes, and you waive any right to receive specific notice of changes. Except as limited by section 11.3 below. Okay, this is interesting. Your continued sharing of public game content or adaptive content after a license modification confirms your acceptance of any changes to the license, and except as expressly limited by section 11.3 below, you will be bound by such revised terms, even if you did not receive specific notice of the changes, and even if you failed to check the license regularly. If you do not accept the changes, the license will terminate as described in section 9.1. Interesting. So you're basically, it's up to you to keep track of any legalese that's changed. I mean, again, it's annoying with apps, mobile apps, that every time they change something, you have to read the terms of service and agree or disagree. In this case, like, you have to go out there and check. I mean, you think you would anyway. If you're going to try to build a business off the back of somebody else's stuff, you think you would go out there and check and be like, hey, yeah, are they still letting us do this? This sounds very Hasbro-esque, right? Wow. Okay. If you're distributing content or have taken substantial steps in the production of adaptive content at the time that they issue a license amendment, you will be permitted to continue distributing the exact adaptive content under the terms of the license that was in place prior. Okay, so that's good. So if you're like, okay, we started working on this, 6 months or a year ago when the terms were this, but now the terms are this, they'll let you be beholden to the old terms. Wow. Okay. I think that's what they're saying. Prior license will continue to cover such existing adaptive content. However, you agree that any modified versions of existing adaptive content or derivative work will be subject to the amended license, and your use of any new adaptive content after the effective date of any amended license shall automatically be deemed to be an agreement by you to the terms and conditions of the amended license with respect to any exploitation by you of the new adaptive content. Wow. Yeah, this is like pretty like, and this is name mark list. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I would be concerned about this. I mean, I understand why they're doing it, but this basically gives them carte blanche to steal your shit, even if they just change it enough. Like I said, you come up with a new race, you come up with a new class, you come up with new spells, you come up whatever, as long as it's not an exact copy, but close enough, it's okay. They can just take it. So what could potentially happen is they could use the community to prototype stuff and kind of spitball ideas. And then the ones are like, hey, this one did, 200, 300 grand on Kickstarter. This might be a good thing to add to our stuff officially. Oh, we don't want to pay them though, so we'll just change it. We'll just change it. Instead of magic missile, it's magic dart. There we go. You know, that's a new spell. You know what I'm saying? So that, I mean, I understand what they're going for. They don't want frivolous lawsuits, but it does open up Pandora's box for them to take advantage. So just be aware, you know, if you're gonna do this, and again, you're playing in somebody else's sandbox, and they have the right to kick you out at any point in time. That's what happened with Hasbro. That's what happened with the Wizards of the Coast. I think we're looking at the same kind of scenario here. So, and again, this is all about, you know, protecting themselves, and I get it. I completely get it. But I don't think, given the audience they've courted, I don't think it's going to go very well, because a lot of people who are playing in these sandboxes, these, community-driven sandboxes, feel on some level they have some ownership of the brand, the franchise, whatever, and they feel betrayed when you pull something like this. So, you know, and again, I think Critical Role, more than, you know, maybe the average D&D player, I think that their audience, I'm going to be honest, they're probably going to be more indignant about this. And I can foresee problems. I can foresee allegations. I can foresee all kinds of problems. I think they need to clarify this just to protect their own reputation, because I can totally see somebody being like, you know, look at this. Look at what they're doing. They stole my stuff. They stole my polyamorous, blue-haired lizard people race. And they made the hair green, so it's not exactly the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So there are going to be some potential problems here. So good luck with that. Good luck with all that. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe again. Check out Bad Orcs, badorcs.com. We'll talk later.